Hello out there and welcome to Public Conscience. This is the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. PRIMOG is a civil society organization working to promote good governance, participation, and accountability in Nigeria. I am Chidozie Ogbonnaya with my colleague Esther Bassi.
A warm welcome to the program.
On Public Conscience, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of investigative corruption stories by our partner media organizations and by alerting citizens and government for democratic action against it. We equally promote integrity by amplifying rare cases of the display of honesty by public and private individuals in the course of their normal activities. We appreciate the MacArthur Foundation for supporting the production of this program.
In today's program, we will be looking at entrenching the culture of accountability and integrity as a culture in Nigeria.
We will also x-ray the hindrances of Nigerians, especially those in the public service, to display integrity, as well as why getting public sector accountability rights continues to be a challenge. And I must tell you that a civil society organization, Accountability Lab Nigeria, has been using the Integrity Icon project to identify honest public servants in their numbers for over the years.
Today's program will stress the need for Nigerians to adopt integrity and accountability as a culture, whether you are working for the government or working for yourself, as it is the only way for us to have the Nigeria of our dreams.
The good thing is that some Nigerians in the public service are flying high the flag of integrity, although much more needs to be done to have more Nigerians become honest. For you out there, do you know that no society progresses as it should without the people being accountable and upright to a large extent? Are you aware that the lack of accountability and transparency in the public sector has massively affected our development as a nation? And what must we do as citizens to encourage an integrity lifestyle in our little corners and the public sector?
Be ready to join us through phone and text messages during this conversation. The WhatsApp phone line to send your message is 0902 265 6167. That is 0902 265 6167. Please indicate your name and your location when sending your message. This number is for messages only.
Please begin to send your messages as soon as possible to 09022656167. That is 09022656167. We will give out the numbers to call shortly.
If you just joined us, we are discussing how to incorporate integrity into the culture of Nigeria.
In simple terms, accountability means you are responsible or accountable for something, while integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. However, the issue of lack of integrity by Nigerians who are saddled with one form of responsibility or the other in the public sector remains a troubling phenomenon.
Nevertheless, some public servants individuals continues to stand upright in the areas of influence, although the numbers of men and women of integrity is quite infinitesimal compared to those on the other side of the divide. Accountability Lab Nigeria has been using Integrity Icon Nigeria project to build a new generation of upright people in the public sector. And one of my guests is someone who has made a difference in the Nigerian public service through our integrity lifestyle.
2017 Integrity Icon to join us very soon. She is the head of Department of Sociology at the University of Abuja, Dr. Magdalene Ebolo. We have the Communications Officer at Accountability Lab Nigeria, Prince Chimaroke Chukwuka, joining us. Thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now let's start from your story. You were named an Integrity Icon in 2017, and you have a fascinating profile as a public servant that will stop at nothing to ensure the right thing is done. Walk us through your what led you to becoming a person of integrity, and how has your lifestyle changed people around you?
Okay, thank you so very much. My story is an interesting one. Basically because I didn't set out to becoming an integrity icon. I just got employed on the job as a lecturer at the University of Abuja, and I think I just had to do what I had to do. Asking, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I can do, this is what I cannot do. Okay, so having worked in the University of Abuja for about 15 years or so or more, I have led a life that everybody has come to know that this is the kind of person that this person is. And so there are things that people don't come to me to ask for. Okay. Being a person of integrity, I think, is a personal principle. For me, this is who I want to be. Beyond all that is going on in the society, beyond all that is going on where I work and all that, I chose to be a different person. I just want to be known as somebody who has integrity, somebody who says yes, and it is yes, and who says no, and it is no. So basically, it's a personal thing.
It's a personal
So
thing.
your
Yes.
motivating factor is that it is just a personal thing?
Yeah,
Or
it's
other
it's a
factors?
personal principle. Really, it's a personal principle. That's beyond my background. Of course, I grew up in a home where, honesty, truthfulness, sincerity was the hallmark.
So that was the foundation.
Yeah, the foundation is from my family. That's how I was brought up. In fact, the day you tell a lie in my house, they will beat hell. And if I remove the spirit of life from your life, yes, that's the way it was. But so we grew up. We grew up knowing that you can't tell a lie. You cannot take what is not given to you. You cannot do things that they say don't do. My house was like a military camp. My auntie was just something else. So if she says don't do this thing, you dare not try it, because she will remove that spirit from your life that day. So I grew up like that, knowing that there were things that you just can't do as a human being. There were things that you just needed to abide by. When rules are set, you need to abide by those rules. And that's the way she lived her life too. Those who knew her until she died, everywhere she walked, they knew her for being that straightforward, one-way human being that if she says yes, is yes. If she says no, is no. So I grew up building that principle, and I it has helped me. I've carried it all along, all through my career life, and that's how it has been.
So you're doing it. What you're doing it seamlessly. You don't need to work
No,
hard.
I don't
It's
need
something
to.
you've
No,
imbibed over
Family
time.
values.
But I will have to ask you this. Now that you have continued to carry on with this character, what has it done to people around you?
Well, when you work with people, they get used to your kind of person and the way you work. There are things they won't ever come to you and ask for. For example, my students won't walk up to me and start telling me, I want to give you money to change grade. It can't happen. It can't happen because they know that Ibolo, they call me Ibolo, they won't even, Ibolo is that person that you won't go to her to say, ma, please, I didn't do well, or this one and that one, please, ma, do this. It won't work. It won't work. Even colleagues won't do it, because they have come to know that this is who Ibolo is. You don't come around me to come and start suggesting things that you know that I will not ever do.
But every human being has a breaking point. What's your breaking point?
What will be the breaking point?
You tell me.
Money. Is it money? Over time, if you have developed yourself to that point of contentment, there are things that don't move you. I tell you the truth. Like I tell my students, how much can you give me? How much can you pay me to make me change a grade? What will you do? What will it be that you will do that will make me change or do one thing I'm not supposed to do because I occupy a position? No, there's nothing. Truly, there is nothing.
Truly.
And that's basically because I have discovered that there are too many things we don't need in this life. We don't need too much money. We just need enough money to live a normal life.
So you are contented with the salary, even because we look at it and do comparative analysis with other countries. We know that you are not earning this big fat salary out there.
Yes,
So,
yes.
but you are contented with.
Of course, I have to be content with my salary. For now, that's what I am being paid.
Yeah. Okay.
So I won't want to go out of what I'm being paid to collect a bribe, to steal from where I didn't keep, and all that. I mean, that will be you going against, that is me in particular going against my principles. I won't do that.
Since 2017, you've been enjoying being branded, recognized as integrity icon.
Yeah.
What has it also done to you, your personality?
Well, I think it's a big honor, to be termed an integrity icon. It's what people are paying money to get. And I just sat in my office and they called me and said, you have been nominated as an icon. I mean, it was like, who are these people? Is it 419? What are they looking for? What is it? But eventually I found out that it was true. They were real and all that. And it came to pass. I got the award as one of the icons for 2017. And it has opened a lot of doors. Like, because of my award as integrity icon, I got on the UNODC program. Okay, I was also nominated because of that award to be on the UNODC program that has taken me to Austria. It has taken me to Egypt. It has taken me to Ghana on their different programs, geared towards promoting ethics and integrity and all of that. So, the last one in Egypt in December was about anti-corruption and so on. So it has opened doors.
So being a good person pays.
Yeah, it pays, it does.
I will want to come to you, but you mentioned your colleagues earlier. I want to know, how has this affected your relationship with your colleagues in school?
Because some will just call you the holy person among them.
Yes, they will. They will give you all kinds of names. But I know the thing is that they won't call it to your face. That name, they will never say it to your face. Yeah, they will never come to you to say, oh, this one and that one. But I hear it from behind. I hear some colleagues, they say, she's Madam Integrity. Let me call it the way they call it. She's Madam Integrity. The students, everybody, they she's Madam Integrity. Don't go to her. Okay. She will not do it for you and all that and all that. So, it's okay.
All right, good then. Prince, so the Integrity Icon Nigeria project seeks to build a new generation of upright people in the public sector.
Yes.
For the benefit of someone hearing the Integrity Icon for the very first time, tell us what it is all about and give us a sense of how the project has fared since inception.
All right, thank you so much. In fact, I'm really glad to want to talk about this again. For starters, the Integrity Icon is a global campaign. And what he hopes to do is to identify, connect, and celebrate honest government officials. And it is true, if you've seen our Nigerian society, if you've looked around, you see that there's a lot of hopelessness amongst many Nigerians because they feel this corruption can't end. I don't think there's any hope for a better tomorrow. I don't think it's possible to find anybody who is even making any efforts, to change the system, And this has been what has inspired us because a lot of people think everybody in the public service, they're all corrupt. If you want to get something done, you must pay a bribe, you must push your file,
cut corners.
Cut corners. So all of those things, they're almost seeming as if they're becoming norms, And what the Integrity Icon has done since 2017 is to rewrite that narrative that everybody in the public service is corrupt. And we thank God that in 2017 we found people like Dr. Igbolo Madeline, we found Dr. Yemi Kale, we found Dr. Nuzo, Eziechi, a number of this, great public servants who within their space have made a personal commitment to never compromise on integrity. And that for us has been proof that there are people in the public service who are doing their bit and that a day would come where corruption will be history. It will be to the barest minimum. And we believe that it is with people like this, doing their bit and their corners, that will be able to institutionalize this change. And to say how it has fared, when we started in 2017, and we were discussing this idea with a few colleagues, even when we went amongst public service, institutions, a number of persons laughed at us, they felt, excuse me, what
It's
is
not
this?
something that
What
you
is this
feel.
thing you're trying to do? And to the surprise of everyone, in that first year we found 5 persons, we had a number of nominations. I think it was barely over 100 at the time, and then celebrating them the first year, and then they felt, oh, maybe they were lucky, and then the second year the nominations increased. We had another 5, and then another 5, and it's been 5 years since that time. Over 25 icons recognized, celebrated, and then connected. Like I said, it's not just identifying them and celebrating them. It's now bringing them into a coalition so they can push for reforms. Because ordinarily, as a public servant, if you are in your little corner doing your thing, you feel like it's just you against the world. You feel it's just me. Well, no problem. My reward could be in heaven. But by the time you find that there's you in Abuja, there's another in Ekiti, there's another in Ogun, there's another person in Gombe, who are also doing their bit to ensure that a new Nigeria where integrity is the new norm is possible, you begin to feel even more encouraged. You understand? Because now you feel, oh, it's not me alone. I have other colleagues elsewhere
who are living the same kind of life.
Living the same kind of life, who are saying a new Nigeria is possible where integrity is the norm. You understand? And yes, that's typically how it has felt so far.
I will take it off from there because I am very interested in seeing Nigeria, the society, become people of integrity and filled with people of integrity. This is the path we must follow for us to develop as a nation.
Yeah.
And I congratulate you for Accountability Lab for what you guys are doing there. But I have to say, I also join you in that optimism to say one day we'll have a good country. But we have to come back to Dr. Ibolo, because the truth of the matter is that your story, what you've been saying before now, is a lot of inspiration. I want you to inspire us the more with those accounts or instances of your integrity, deed of integrity that's made you proud.
Well, if I know there are a lot of them, but if
just one or two.
If I can really remember.
We cannot read all your history here.
Yes. There was a time. Then I was a very junior lecturer then. I mean, for me not to have been influenced by money at that time, you should know what it means. I was a very junior lecturer with a salary that was, I'm sure, less than 100,000, and I was coordinating for CDL at the time, Center for Distance Learning, and of course admissions are usually done, which sometimes we are not involved in the admission process, and this admission was done and concluded, and of course it was now in my place to screen the students who were admitted. And a particular person came who wasn't qualified for that admission, but he was given, I don't know how he got it. He was given the admissions and he came. Of course, the requirements for admission are 5 credits. We all know, including English and maths. And the person didn't have either English or maths, or one of those. But he was given the admission because, of course, for the Center for Distance Learning, they don't need to write JAM. So it's just your WAEC they use. So, and this man came, a big man, really, really a big man. And he came and wanted to be screened. And when he came and I looked at his document, I said, Oga, you're not qualified, though. You don't have either English or maths or something. And he was like, no, I've spoken to the director and then this and that, and he said I should come and meet you. I said, director can't say you should come and meet me now, when he knows what the rules are. You don't have English and maths. I gave him back his papers, like, okay, hold your papers, let me attend to others. And then he went to some people around the place and trying to, they should talk to me to screen him and all that. I said, well, he came back again. I said, I've spoken to this person. They said you should screen me, this and that. So, okay, go and tell the person who said I should screen you to put it in writing and sign. So by the time they will say you screen somebody who is not qualified, I will now say, okay, this person authorized this screening. Nobody was ready to commit to it. And so I kept it. And then, like 1 week later, he came back again. And this time around, through one of the staff of the center, he came with a big fat envelope. And we're like, you need to, no. He came and said, Madam, I work in the presidency. What do you want me to do for you? I asked him, I said, what can you do for me?
Okay.
What can you do for me? He said, just name anything you want me to do for you. I said, okay, give me your life. Is it possible to give me that? Yeah, give me your life. If you give me your life, then I will know that you're really, really serious about doing something for me. You won't come and give me 100,000 or 200,000 and you say, okay, I brought this and this and that and that. Okay, that's that. Then the one that is very recent. I'm currently the head of department of sociology department. I became head of department in 2019 and I've been there since then. And I inherited a case of examination malpractice concerning a very big person in this country. Okay. Now, that case had dragged from like 2017 till the person was HOD, finished his tenure and left. But somehow, I don't know what was happening. I don't know whether they wanted to cover it up or whatever, but something was going on. And they were not ready to bring up that matter and so on. But the person who caught that person wasn't ready to give up, because I'm sure he's also a person who believes in what he stands for.
Okay.
And so he went back to this one at this time is at postgraduate level, not even undergraduate level. And like I used to say, postgraduate programs are luxury programs. If you are not ready, don't come for it. It's not undergraduate. Undergraduate is what is for me is a basic degree and everybody needs it. But beyond that, every other thing should be your decision to come and do. So you don't need to come and start cheating at exam. Okay, so this particular case now, the man went back to report it to, more like reawaken it when I became head of department at the PG school. And before you know it, a call came to my dean. My dean had to call me. Then I had now become HOD. What is the problem? This and that. Let me cut the long story short, because a whole lot happened within that period.
All right.
People in my own department even ganged up together with the students to try to, sweep this matter on that carpet. And somehow the thing kept coming up. It kept coming up. And I told them, I said, look, I don't know why you people didn't dispense of this matter before I became head of department. Now that I am head of department, what happened, right or wrong, we must handle it. And handle it to conclusion. We must reach the bottom of it. And so, for every time they will call me, I am going to report this thing as I know about it. And so, it created a lot of crises in my department. Serious crises. I mean, divisions, groups, gangs, the ones that were for, the ones that were against. Each time we had a meeting over this issue, it will end in a fight. And some people just think, oh, why don't you defend your students? You are not I said, wait, are we here to defend students? We are not here to defend students. We are here to do our jobs. And we must do the jobs, in the way that is expected. Bottom line, the matter was reawakened, taken up at the faculty level. Of course, at every level, they will call you as head of department to come and tell them what you know. Then to the central level. And eventually, with all that this guy tried to do, a very big person, I can't call the name, but it will shock you.
We understand.
And that's what people can do. A lot of interests, he met a lot of people who were coming to bring money, to tell you this one will call you to that corner. You realize this person is a big person, is this, is that. I say so. If he were an ordinary person, will you people be telling us that we should not do it? If we can punish ordinary people who don't have money to bribe for committing that same crime, then anybody that commits that crime, the same crime should be punished for it. Bottom line, that matter was concluded and the person expelled as specified in the laws of the University of Abuja.
Her story will inspire somebody out there. Let's bring in our listener to join us in this conversation, because when we talk about integrity, it is not just that man, that big man sitting out there. You in your little corner, you have a role. There's a big role for you to play. If you don't do it, at your own little end, you can't do it when given a big position.
True.
And integrity begets integrity, while the other side of it, corruption, breeds corruption. We cannot do anything about it. But Esther, we have to quickly go to the phone lines.
Please follow us on our social media platforms at official Primorg. The spelling of Primorg is Primorg.
Remember that this program is interactive. The WhatsApp phone line to send your message is 09022656167. That is 09022656167. This number is for messages only. Please begin to send your messages now to 09022656167. Do you think the lack of integrity by people in leadership positions is the reason why corruption is on the rise in Nigeria? Do you think more Nigerians will become people of integrity if leaders and politicians display integrity in their offices? Do you know that some Nigerians are still displaying integrity in public and private spaces? We have one here, Dr. Magdalene Ibolo, who is holding the flag high for us. Hello, your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mr. Popo, calling from Abuja.
Let's hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to appreciate the gesture of that woman there, the mother. See, corruption has taken part of Nigeria and giving us bad representation outside the country. Do you know that most of Nigeria are doing very fine, greatly in outside world, which has to be commended. But due to the corruption nature of Nigeria, it has taken me. It's just like a war, a virus. It's in there every day. Thank you very much, madam. God continue to bless you.
All right. Thank you. Let's take another call because of our time. Other people want to contribute. Hello, your name and where you're calling from? All right, let's hear you in 1 minute.
I really commend Mrs. Golo. And I just need, I want to give a word of advice to her and other people like her. You know, in this 21st century, with the kind of character that you build up from your home, I beg you, try to have followers. When you have followers, when you are not there, your followers will pick it up. The truth I do tell people is that truth has leg, but lies doesn't have leg. Because the day someone will try to fall the truth has leg to defend itself. But lies doesn't have leg, it will fall. You know, one thing I can is that lies, that if lies run for 20 years, one day the truth will catch up with it. So please, keep it up.
All right.
The leg the truth has can never make you fall. They will can't. They will try to get rid of you. But because of the truth you are doing that has leg, you can never fall.
All right.
But that lies that does not have leg will definitely fall, and the fall will be disastrous.
All right, let's see who else is here. Thank you for calling us. Hello, your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Osinachi. I'm calling from Cairo, Abuja.
Osinachi, let's hear you in 1 minute.
Okay. Before I would like to appreciate the woman in our noble HOD in the studio. I believe that this is a noble act which needs a presidential award. And this reminds me of my department in the school. When I was in school, in University of Calabar, the Department of Genetics and Biotechnology. You find that if you ask or make your research very well, my lecturers, they are lecturers of high integrity. In fact, you don't even go anywhere to do any shit. So I will commend my lecturers of the University of Calabar, Department of Genetics and Biotechnology. They have done so great in that department, and I'm saying they have done kudos, and God should bless them for me.
All right, thank you for your contribution. We have to keep commending the commendations that are commending for Dr. Magdalene Ibolo, and it's a good thing when you are commended why you are still alive, Prince.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Because sometimes some of us got their commendations when there were no more, but it's good that you are living your dream and you are getting commended. Well, let's go on and talk about, we've been talking about instilling the culture of integrity in Nigerians. That's what we are trying to project, and that's what we are anxious to have as a people. Where do you think we even got this wrong? Where did we hit the self-destruct button?
That question is the same question I've also been asking myself and asking some people who are older than us. Because I have heard a lot of things that happened before, let's say 1980s. Let's say 1980s. How wonderful this country used to be. How Naira was so strong that it was 1 Naira to 1 pound. In fact, stronger than the dollar. How the education system was so good, so strong, so, good that as soon as you graduate, a job was waiting for you with a car and an official apartment. How so many things had happened, Nigeria was working. And so the question that I keep asking, that I've not gotten the answer, even myself.
Oh, you've not gotten
I've not gotten that answer because nobody seemed to get the answer. At what point did we start derailing? Because I remember that in my government class, we got to hear that post the Civil War, Nigeria made so much money from the oil boom, that we had so much money that a sitting president, head of state, could say that Nigeria has money. Our problem is not making money, is how to spend the money. For a reasonable government of whoever was in charge at that time, there were so many things to have been done with the monies that were made. And now this is a country that the population was growing. Why didn't they at that time project into the future to know that at so time this population was going to grow to this level, and so we needed to expand on electricity, we needed to expand on roads, we needed to expand on agriculture, we needed to expand on infrastructure, to make sure that by the time the population is growing, there was enough to take care of the population that was coming.
Do you think is a factor of those that led us all this while to this point?
Yes,
we didn't develop? That's
the point I am trying to drive at. I'm trying to drive at that leadership point, because your income, you were sitting on top of a nation. You were in charge of a nation. You saw the way the things were going. You know the rate at which your population was growing. You had expectations as to how Nigeria, where you wanted to see Nigeria, because at that time I was taught in government that Nigeria was considered a developing nation because of the indices that were available. Yes. They saw the way they were going in terms of economic growth, in terms of infrastructural growth, in terms of the strength of their currency, and so they could classify it together with Indonesia, with China, with what they call the Asian tigers, with Malaysia and the rest. They were all classified together as developing nations because they saw that it was developing. And at what point did we get that we now derailed, that these other ones have now gone way beyond? We're now going back to them to go and start asking for help. The same people who came to us to ask for help. So it had to do, for me, I believe, is a failure of leadership. It's a failure of leadership, which has continued even till today. We are still talking about leadership till today. We are not even doing anything to get it right. We are still turning around in cycles. We keep going back and forth and all that. And I don't know how we are going to ever get to correct it.
I don't know how we hit the self-destruct button. I don't know if Prince Chimaroke knows, but Esther has something to.
So the question is, where are we missing it when it comes to entrenching a culture of integrity in our lives as a people? Plus, what are the dangers of having a country laden with issues of lack of accountability, transparency, and good governance?
I will start from the latter question, which is where we are now. The Nigerian society that we have today is a result of a lack of integrity. That's one very sound way to answer it. What we're seeing, everything from whatever is not working, is as a result of lack of integrity. Now, to say at what point did we lose it? I may not be able to pinpoint it, but one thing I would say is, like Dr. Igbolo has said, is a failure of leadership. But I wouldn't want to generalize leadership, because for every time we say leadership, we point to the government.
That's what I was about to say.
But the thing is, the first leadership failure we had was the family. We failed ourselves as a nation at the point where parents and guardians refused to correct their children as they grew up. When they brought stolen items home, when they made monies they didn't know how the monies came about. They didn't ask questions, instead they were applauded. Ah, this is my child. You seem to be a very sharp, you are clever. You know, that's where the first leadership failed. We failed leadership at the home. The next place leadership failed was within our religious centers. Because our religious leaders stopped talking when they discovered that people were bringing big donations and did not question where these resources were coming from. As against questioning where these resources are coming from, they gave them front row seats and gave them titles and applauded them for the huge contributions that they have made. And there was a leadership failure at the religious level.
But what is the danger of all of these things?
Just let me make this point up to the end. Now, the next hope we thought would have helped correct this anomaly was the school, our educational system. But you can also see that within the educational system, the failure in the home rubbed off, and maybe it's overpowering our educational system, because from the primary school level, you hear that parents come to school to tell principals or school administrators, do not correct my child. How dare you? Your child should stay home.
So it's kind of a chain reaction.
It's a chain reaction, because now the school who would have played a role in correcting the child who has missed the correction lessons at home are now being told that if you will correct my children in school, I would move my children from your school to another school. So in other words, the educational administrators are beginning to compromise at some level to ensure that let's not lose money. So we are now looking at profitability as against accountability, at the expense of accountability. We're now trying to secure profitability within the institution as against looking at accountability for a nation or for leaders who will represent us. Show me one Nigerian leader who didn't come from a home, who does not worship at a religious center, or who had not gone through the educational system. You mentioned one.
Big question there. We may not be able to, give you the answer, but it's true. It's there that all of us who grew up in homes, we attended schools, we live in an environment, we worship, we go to church. It's either you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, some are traditionalists anyway. But all those institutions are supposed to be integrity institutions, that when you do the wrong thing, they tell you this is wrong. We still have Dr. Magdalene Igbolo with us here, and we'll still explore more from her very soon, because a lot has been said, and your life is a shining light to many. And but the redemption, when you look around you, do you see your wannabes or your people who really want to be like you in the sector you are working in? Do you think that there's hope in that sector to reduce drastically the number of people who are not upright and in the sector, in the educational sector?
Yes, thank you very much. And that's a question I've always wanted to answer and address. Okay, we have a society where everything is collapsing. I don't want to say has collapsed, because that I sit here means there's hope.
Of course.
That we have had like 5 series of awardees, it means there's hope. It means that there are people who within their spaces are still trying to do something to help the situation. I mean, maybe not outrightly trying to help, but doing whatever they can do within their space to be upright, to be people of integrity. There are people who are still doing that. And within the space where I work, I mean, I work with young people, I teach young people, and a lot of them actually like me a lot. A lot of them. I know so many of them who call me their mentor. Whether they mean it or not, but I mean, for students to come up to you and tell you, ma, I like you a lot. I like what you're doing. You are different from all other lecturers. I want to be like you when I grow up. That gives me a lot of encouragement. That inspires me a lot. That makes me feel very good. Some actually send to you as messages. When I post anything on Facebook, you follow me on Facebook. You read their comments. You could see that they know that this person is like this. So you hear this one, my best lecturer, my this lecturer. She's one of the best. She is this, she is that, she is this, she's that. I mean, it gives me a lot of, if you're not doing it, nobody will come to your page and say that. Okay. And even when they sit in their places to do their different discussions, like I tell my colleagues, the bribe you collected in the office will be discussed in the beer parlor. And when they will be doing the discussion, you will not be there. Okay?
That's true.
So, when they sit in those their gatherings to do discussions about who and who, because at that point they call names of the lecturers that have, interacted, have compromised with them. So they will always call their names as, so this person, this one, that one, oh, this one, that one, this one. But there are names that when they get to, they say, that one, don't go there. That one, she's very wicked. When they tell you you're wicked, check yourself. It's not because you're wicked. It's because you're doing the right thing. You are insisting that they should do the right thing. So first, they will consider you a wicked person. Okay. Later on, they will now discover that you're actually not wicked. You're actually trying to help them to become better persons. So within that space, within that environment, within where I work, a lot of young people actually like what we are doing and want to be like us.
And I must commend you for all that you're doing. But I will come back to get your final take on this issue because we are beginning to wrap up.
Okay, yeah. So going forward, Prince, what are we to expect from the Integrity Icon Nigeria project from here?
Well, we would keep rewriting the narrative and proving to Nigerians that there are men and women of integrity who are in the public service and are refusing to compromise on the standard. But beyond this, it's one thing to identify, celebrate, and connect these icons. The question we have asked ourselves is, how can we translate the personal integrity of our icons to become an institutional integrity? And that question had made us begin to work closely with the icons to see how we can make them reformers in their space, to see how they can begin to, have speaking engagement either with a young student, either with colleagues, and begin to see that they can build coalitions for integrity, who through those coalitions can help push for better reforms.
Where are we on that approach, that coalition? Because I'm so much interested in that.
Yes.
Where is Accountability Lab on that project of building coalition of integrity people?
Sometime in March, we hosted the first integrity conference, which was a gathering of public servants, icons, and other public servants around to say, hey, these are icons, these are people who have done it in the public service. And then we're encouraging others to say, if these ones can do it, within the same circumstances, within the same environment, you too can. And we're working with them closely from their schools and to bringing them into large conferences to say, let's talk to one another. Because for a new Nigeria to emerge, and a Nigeria that we can be proud to say our children and children will live in, we must commit to values of accountability and integrity to ensure that Nigeria emerges.
Prince, what about people in the private sector? Because you're always talking, with all we've said here, it's on the public sector.
Yeah.
Yes. I know that our focus as an organization is with the public service. But what we've done in recent time, having spoken to some stakeholders within our network, what we're doing now is to identify private individuals, people who are not within the public service. We're having a name compilation, and I think on two occasions we had invited some of these individuals to our integrity ceremony,
Okay.
where we give them a public applaud and a public showing to Nigerians that, oh, it's not just public servants who, yes, they are also private sector, individuals who are doing the same thing.
Okay, we must thank you so
Sorry,
much.
if
for-
I may
for that.
add to what he just
All
said,
right,
just
go
a
ahead.
little to what he has just said. Now, if you are Nigerians, you have followed the trend. The discussions around corruption are basically focused in the public sector.
Yes.
I mean,
I
a
agree
whole
with
lot is around the public sector. It is minimal in the private sector. And so I think that the focus of accountability lab being centered on the public sector is such that if you get it right in the public sector, the private sector will fall in line.
Yes.
I mean,
Because,
and also
because the private sector is already shaped towards
yes,
that.
yes, it's really low. Corruption is really low in the private sector.
All right.
And so
Because of our time, Dr. Magdalene Ibolo, we have to leave it there. We must thank you so much for being a person of integrity, and Prince, we have to also thank you for bringing her here.
Please visit our news website, primognews.org. That is primognews.org for all the details of our reports and interviews. Visit our website, www.primog.org, to get all the information about Primog.
And you can watch our videos on Primog TV, our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to get reminders when we have a new post. We appreciate our guest, a 2017 integrity icon. She is the head of the Department of Sociology at the University of Abuja, Dr. Magdalene Ibolo. Thank you for joining us.
thank you.
And we
for
thank
having
Prince Chimaroke Chukwuka, the Communications Officer at Accountability Lab Nigeria. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Public Conscience has the support of John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation on its website, macfound.org.
Join us here next week for another episode of Public Conscience. And remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram @officialprimog. I am Esther Basi.
Remember that birth registration and birth certificate are both free if your child is under 18. Help stop the corruption in birth registration and do not pay for birth certificates. Also remember that you can give us information or hints about corrupt acts through our phone at 090-2265-6167 or info@primog.org. I am Chidozie Ogbonnaya. Stay safe.